Oh, wow. Well, it's still not resolved, but on the 20th, I signed up for Safelink Wireless service, just the Lifeline portion, where you get a phone and you get, a basic unlimited talk and text and uh, probably like 5Gs or something like that a month. But I signed up for it and they mailed me a phone on the 22nd. On the 22nd of June, I got it. And when I got it, it didn't have a charger. It didn't have a cable, just the phone. So I called up and I explained to them that somebody in the warehouse, some genius forgot to pack it. So they said, "Oh, okay, we'll get on that." And she called warehouse, and warehouse said they would send it out. This was a day before 4th of July when I finally got to talk to them. And so then they said they were going to send it out after the 4th. So I called after the 4th because they said they were going to send an email to confirm it, and I never got it. So I just called to double check, make sure that they actually sent it off, and they said they did. Well, I waited 2 more days, and I called again, and that's when I spoke to the warehouse supervisor. She's supposed to be a supervisor, but I don't really think she was. Just in speaking with her, she really didn't have too much to say. She was sort of like, just like mum, she wouldn't. All she said was, we don't provide any wall chargers with that because when we bought it, the manufacturer didn't put any wall chargers in there. Well, from my understanding, because they have a contract with the government to distribute phones to low-income people. Okay, so the part of the plan is to do it in a organized way, the same way every time. And pretty much you have to have a working phone. You have to have the charger, everything that comes with it. So the person could just start using the phone. It isn't where I buy this part and all that kind of thing. It's uniform. That's what's mandated, is that they, pass out a complete phone. So she just kept saying the same thing. Well, we didn't get one. The manufacturer didn't give us one. I think they use refurbished ones sometimes, but at the same time, I was with another company and I could tell they had aftermarket chargers and stuff because it didn't come with it. So they get the big bucks from the government. So that's why they're supposed to come out their pockets. And if they decide to do a deal with the manufacturer that is missing that, they have to make that up, not us, not the people that are getting the phones. So she said nothing she could do. So I called back customer service and they said that they would go ahead and order one anyway and wait for an email. Never got it. Every time I called, I spoke with a different person. They barely had any reference number or anything like that. So what I did was I called Verizon compliance, because at the bottom on the website, if you have any complaints, you should call Verizon compliance because that's their sister company. They use Verizon wires, their network. So I talked to them. They were extremely helpful. What they did was they said, hold on, I'm going to talk to Safelink right now. So they called Safelink, and Safelink promised that they would go ahead and mail it out to me. And so they came back on the phone and said, oh, yeah, I talked to them. They're going to mail it out in 3 to 5 days. You should be getting an email. And I didn't get an email. Called back and I explained to them, now listen, make sure you're saying wall charger. And this happened a second time. A second person did it, tried to do it, and they did the same thing. They promised they would send it. I never got it. So I spoke with a third person, and he said what I should do is I should call Lifeline because they would be more respectful and knowing that the rules and regs of how they do this, that Lifeline would know that they're not supposed to not give me a wall charger. So what happened was I did a three-way call. I said, we should do a three-way call. So she ended up talking with Safelink. And then at the end, all three of us were on the line. And I heard the rep from Verizon say, oh, she's going to, okay, stay on the line. She's going to get your information, and she's going to give you, and she's used the frame, she's going to give you a wall charger. I go, oh, great. So she hung up. As soon as she hung up, they said, no, we're not giving you a wall charger. We'll send you another cable if you want. I mean, they lied to the Verizon people 3 times. So at that point, I went and contacted the FCC and put a complaint online there, and I didn't hear anything. And in the meantime, between time, I'm still calling them. So what happened? I didn't hear anything from the FCC, so I finally called them up, one last ditch attempt. Now, this is already like 20, I've had it a month. I don't have a charger to charge it up. And it's the newer kind where it's like a C to C like end. And also each phone has different, amperes and volts and watts. So the newer phones, they don't really work with just anything. So she suggested, I talked to somebody at FCC. She said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call up corporate and see if they'll do anything for you. I can't guarantee it, but I'll give it a shot. So all of a sudden I get an email from corporate saying, we heard about your problem, and we're going to try to work it out. So I called the number and the extension, but I couldn't talk to anybody that wrote the letter. That's what I want to talk to, somebody that wrote that email, but couldn't talk to them. And they said, we're supervisors, we'll help you out. So they went ahead and put in for it, and they said, we're going to just put in for it here at corporate. And they said, you should get an email. Okay. Didn't get an email, called the second day, and I called the warehouse. They said, the next day I called, they said, you should talk to the warehouse. They'll be able to tell you tracking number and everything, because that's where it's coming from. I called the warehouse, and they said, we assure you we're not sending you a wall charger. We don't have any here. And so, oh my God. So I called back. It was yesterday, and I explained to her, and she says, they have it there. And I'm like, ugh. So she went ahead and she said she was escalating the ticket as usual, and that warehouse was going to send it out. And of course I didn't get an email. I called today. But I called corporate again, and I said, how about maybe if you talk to the person that sent the letter, I could give you her name, the actual person, because it seems like she really knows, she's a little higher on the chain, and maybe warehouse will listen to her. So she goes, well, I'm doing it. I'm handling it. I said, okay. So I said, do you have a reference number? I mean, I'm talking to these people fresh each and every time, because they're not plugging in the computer, and corporate doesn't know any tracking numbers or anything. So anyway, so that's where I'm at now. And she said, you should be receiving it in 3 to 5 days. No, it's not going to happen. I need to talk to that lady who sent the email. That's the only way, So it's over a month now, and it had a couple of minutes on there, and I went ahead and activated it, but I'm not using it because it's going to go dead. And it's been over a month. It's just this back and forth and back and forth and back. And they keep talking about telling me it doesn't come with a cable. And I'm like, well, that's not my problem. I didn't tell you to close that deal. You didn't have to pick that deal. You could have went and got another model, bought it from another situation, another scenario. What kind of buyer is that? And I said, you ought to just go on Temu and order it. And they'll get free shipping, and it's dirt cheap. You can buy a whole gang of them. So, it's just the same thing over and over and over. And then getting drop calls in between that. And it's just, they're like, they don't listen to what you're saying, And I told them, make sure you say a wall charger. They're going to try to give you a cable, but that's not what I need. So anyway, Verizon compliance was very helpful, though. I have to say that. They were extremely helpful and professional. And it's irritating. I was so upset. I mean, it brought me to tears. It's frustrating. It's just the same thing over and over. The manufacturer didn't give us any wall chargers, and like there's nothing that could be done. So anyway, I don't know. I thought it was going to be okay. 2 days ago, but I don't know. I'm just cruising. So I really resent it because, a lot of these companies, when they first started this, years ago, they were ripping off the government and ripping the government off and had all kind of scandals and little tricks they were doing with with that big responsibility. And, one thing about the government didn't even get rid of none of those. They kept those same companies and never dropped them. And that's sort of bad because the government's like, they're doing their thing. That's a big job. Let them handle it. They're not like, having any really too many watchdogs, with these people, especially with the books, because quite a few of them gotten away with really ripping off millions of dollars with that program, as usually happens with the government. So unfortunately, but I guess they figure they're handing out enough. They're doing the job basically. So we're not going to really be looking at them too hard or spank them too hard. So it's frustrating. It's like, I've been patient. It's been over a month. And what's really bad is the time, the actual minutes and hours that I've spent on the phone talking with them. I'm telling you, it's been like, I could be out every day calling them, get stuck on there an hour and a half. I'm dead serious. The time that it takes to do all this. And you got to listen to all this, the robot talking and telling you what to do, and till you finally get a real person. And I should know that. I don't know. I had an enrollment number. They said, "What's your phone number?" I don't know. I can't really activate the phone. I don't have a charger or something. Anyway. So I don't know. I'm not sure how it's going to end up. I'm really not, because it just seems like there's a divide in between the warehouse and corporate, So I don't know. I think they're just doing their own thing, They're just doing their own thing. Oh, I just want my wall charger. I got the cable. I just want the wall charger so I can charge it. I mean, they're sending threatening things. Oh, it's going to be disconnected. You haven't used it in 30 days. And it's a principle of it. I'm not going to, I know what I've read that about how what their duties are and what they're supposed to supply. I already know that. They're just telling you any old thing and got these people running out there buying wall chargers. I'd love to do something online and all those people have to get reimbursed because it's like they're too big to get spanked. They feel they could just, tell people any old thing. And I'm sure most of these people, okay, no, I'm not that way, especially if I already know that they're not really telling the honest truth. They're just adjusting it to keep a little more money in their pocket. Because, that's a big contract with the government. It's a lot of money they get every month. So anyway, it's I just wish there's other people that have probably gone through this and, they didn't know better. And, those people, man, I'd like to get us all out of there. Just like, I don't know, make some noise. Just because these companies, they think they're too big to get in trouble. Nobody can bring them down or at least, have people aware of that. But, one day, I don't know the supervisors, and they should really think about getting exposed and embarrassed like a lot of companies have. They have, and they're not too big. Nobody's too big. Goliath,